Americans are making it today. In fact, there are so many reaching millionaire status, it's hard to keep count. Are you going to be the next, or will it be your neighbor? What does it take to join that magic circle? I'm Richard Anderson. In the next 30 minutes, we're going to meet the experts who have done it, learn their secrets, and find out how to make it in America.
Ed Beckley, millionaire, author, lecturer, radio and television personality, creator of no down payment real estate formulas.
We'll show you many different ways, for example, to identify a motivated seller in the newspaper who doesn't necessarily think he's going to sell for nothing down, but once you show him the important benefits to him at that time, then you may be able to structure the transaction such that you buy the property for nothing down, and at many times you're even able to put cash in your pocket.
Join the thousands who have learned from Ed Beckley how to buy real estate with little or no money down. Don't miss the free 90-minute lecture at the following locations.
At 8 p.m. Monday at the Clock Tower Conference Center, Business 20, exit off I-90 in Rockford. At 8 p.m. Tuesday at the Holiday Inn Freeport on Highway 20 East. At 8 p.m. at the Holiday Inn intersection 251 and 75 Beloit. And at 1 and 8 p.m. Thursday at the Clock Tower Conference Center, Business 20, exit off I-90 in Rockford.
People across the country no longer believe the adage, "Give me the good old days." We no longer take the label on a package for granted, nor the politicians' promise for a better future. A wind of change is sweeping across our nation, and it needs to be put in focus.
Oh, my goodness. Opportunities are all over the place. Last night we heard a man who had been gone to the top in Dow Chemical, and now he's in telecommunications in a long-distance company. And he said, well, you remember that movie, The Graduate, where the uncle said one word to Dustin, plastics? Well, he said that was true at the time they made that. Plastics was the great industry of the company. He said if that movie was shot today, the word would be telecommunications.
Mike McKevitt, director of the National Federation of Independent Business, also sees the change.
I see the surge across the country, whether it's Seattle, whether it's Salt Lake, whether it's Spokane, Washington, whether it's Tampa, Florida, whether it's Cedar Rapids, Iowa, where you're starting to see a surge coming back, where you're seeing more independence, where you're seeing more and more people operating their businesses or getting into business now. Women, for example, 35% of the new businesses now across this country are being run by women.
One of my strongest reasons for starting Mary Kay Cosmetics was my determination to give other women the opportunity I felt I had always been denied. I wanted to give women the opportunity to go as far as their abilities could take them, to be the very best they could be. I wanted to give women a chance to realize that they're wonderful and special, and that they can succeed beyond their wildest dreams if they were just given the opportunity. So many of you have accomplished so much. So what was once my dream has now become a wonderful reality.
Mary Kay Ash started a multi-million-dollar business with only $5,000, a few products, and a belief in her dream. Over 200,000 women are now a part of the Mary Kay cosmetic family. A real winner.
Winning is a frightful responsibility. It's a lot more fun to lose sometimes. It's easier to lose. To be a winner, you got to work hard. I can give you some of the winning syndrome. You've got to understand there's a future. A lot of people don't realize that 1990 is going to roll around tomorrow. It's going to be the year 2000 before you know it. It's going to be 2020. What are you going to be doing in 2020? Have you ever given any thought to that? Well, what you're going to be doing in 2020 depends upon what you do today.
For a long time, I had a television show called Successful Texans. And the one thing I noticed about every one of them, they were all different shapes and sizes and education and vocation, is they knew where they were going. And if anything knocked them off path, they went right back to that goal.
Not a single one of us has even used 10% of our total abilities. What I tell people is this, and that is, you do possess within you the seeds of greatness.
dreams can come true, but it's not a sin if you don't win. It's a tragedy if you don't try.
If you don't know where you're going, you're never going to get there. So you have to know pretty much what it is that you really want, deep down in your heart. What is it that you want? What is your goal? Then, after you have set the goal, sometimes it seems almost unattainable because it's maybe so far away or so far up that ladder of success. But somebody said you can eat an elephant one bite at a time.
So they tell us there's a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, that there is more of an opportunity for you and me to make it than ever before. But where do we start?
I got started out of frustration. I'd been told by a real estate agent there was no way I'd ever be able to own a home unless I went and borrowed it from somebody. And I remember after he told me that, I walked outside that day, and I stood out there quietly, and I said to myself, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of living like this. I'm going to make a change starting right now. And when I share with people all across the country, until you get to the point where you say, I've had it, I've got to make a change, nothing will change until you make a change.
I think that the hardest part of getting there is getting started. If you're going to become successful, if you're going to become financially independent, you've got to make a commitment to yourself, and then you've got to go for it.
Go to the experts. Learn exactly what they do to become wealthy. If you really want to be poor, hang around the poor people.
What are the reasons that some make it and others don't?
Where I was raised, everybody was poor, and I didn't want to be poor. I didn't want to be the same as anybody else. So to be different, you kind of color outside the lines, and so I had to do that.
But that someday was never going to come until I took control of it, and I made it happen. Nobody's going to help you but you.
I've often said to our people that if the knees are ever examined in these rooms, you're probably going to find that mine are the bloodiest because I have fallen down so many times. But I always got up and tried again, and I think this is terribly important that we fail forward to success. Nobody, the first time you try anything, does it right. First cake you ever baked was probably terrible. Come to think of it, the last one I baked was pretty terrible, too.
How to win. And you learn how to win. It's not innate. I have seen people, in class, I give names and examples of people that I know were winners at one time. They learned to be losers by an unfortunate experience, and then came back and we made them winners again. And I've seen losers be developed into winners. So winning is something you learn to do.
There are those who seem to take nothing and turn it into instant money. They're called entrepreneurs, visionaries, risk takers. When we come back, some of our country's most successful entrepreneurs are going to advise us on how to make it in America. Maybe some of it will rub off on you.
I feel the seminar was exciting. It was definitely uplifting. And the most important thing is it turned my life around, and I set goals, and I've done it.
Here's an exciting free offer from the Ed Beckley No Down Payment Seminar. Get pencil and paper ready for details.
In my seminars, I teach over 100 ways in which to buy a nice piece of property for little or no money down. That's how you become financially independent today.
Since the seminar, I've been able to purchase with myself and others between 30 and 40 homes with a value of between $1.5 and $2 million.
By buying just a couple of single-family homes, most people can reduce or totally eliminate their income tax burden.
Through the class, it teaches you how to deal with money, how to deal with people, how to satisfy sellers, how to satisfy yourself, how to get a happy tenant, how to, once you've used the property for a while, how to sell it or trade it.
You may be spending thousands of dollars each and every year on rent and have nothing to show for it. You just don't need to do that.
Attend Ed Beckley's free lecture this week. For the lecture nearest you, call 1-800-528-6600, extension 44.
In my seminars, I show you a safe, systematic way by which you can achieve financial security.
Millionaire author lecturer Ed Beckley invites you to attend his free lecture this week at one of the following locations.
At 8 p.m. Monday at the Clock Tower Conference Center, business 20 exit off I-90 in Rockford. At 8 p.m. Tuesday at the Holiday Inn Freeport on Highway 20 East. At 8 p.m. at the Holiday Inn intersection 251 and 75 Beloit. And at 1 and 8 p.m. Thursday at the Clock Tower Conference Center, business 20 exit off I-90 in Rockford.
Could sell a refrigerator to an Eskimo or a pair of snowshoes to a South Sea Islander. Well, no entrepreneur ever did that. For a true entrepreneur looks for a need, then a marketplace to sell his product or service. Entrepreneurs come in all shapes and sizes, young and old, different races and creeds, which is, of course, typically American. And they all have this in common: enthusiasm.
We try to train our people where they don't lose their bait, they keep their money, and they get back into the game. They're all successful. It's just a matter of time. So you don't succeed in the first, second, or third venture. Look at it as your postgraduate education. I often say that to the MBA class, you'd be better off if you take your tuition money, go out and lose it in the business. You'll earn more.
Ken Calloway started with $750. Today, his company is worth about $20 million. He thinks there's another element to success.
And I'm an opera freak. And I'm not only just an opera freak, I'm the worst of all opera freaks. I'm a Wagner freak. And I used to go home at night when things were really bad, and I'd play my Wagner, and I'd think, God, you know, Wagner's empire-building music. And I'd think, God, if that man could write that kind of music, I could at least build some twinky little company. And get up the next morning, go back to work, and it panned out. But if Mr. Wagner had written music, I wouldn't be sitting here today being interviewed on this show.
Ed Beckley, author, lecturer, conducts seminars all over the United States on real estate.
We just keep putting it off, and nothing ever seems to happen. But there's other reasons, too. Some folks say, I don't have any money. I can't buy property. Is that a good excuse? No, that's why you're here. That's not a good excuse. Or I don't have any credit, or I don't want management headaches, or I don't want negative cash flows.
Many of his students have gone from rags to riches.
I feel that real estate is the only way that the so-called little man in the United States today, who doesn't have a lot of capital, who doesn't have a lot of contacts, can reliably, with a high reliable factor, say over 90%, if he does things right according to the right knowledge and follows the right rules and doesn't over-leverage, that he can become financially independent. And there's no real limit. I think that all the people who are truly motivated can become millionaires.
To choose poverty instead of prosperity, to choose failure instead of success, to choose low achievement instead of top-of-the-ladder achievement, all for the sake of saying, I'm humble and I'm not materialistic, isn't smart. It's downright dumb. We become part of the problem instead of part of the solution.
And to some people, it means that you see a guy over in the corner counting all his millions in dollars and keeping it just for himself, just my money. But, you know, I don't think it necessarily means that. You know, maybe people want to have that money to do something more with their life.
You have an obligation to take care of yourself for as long as you're on the face of this earth. You owe it to your fellow man, your fellow taxpayer. You owe it to yourself.
Did our parents and teachers prepare us for the cold, hard world?
People lack know-how. People lack knowledge. And they're afraid of things. I know when I was a child and I'd walk into a room and it was all dark, I'd be scared to death. I am once in a while right now. But as soon as I switched on that light, all the dark would be extinguished. All the dark would be gone, and I'd feel very secure in that room. Similarly, what we try to do with our seminars and our tapes and our books and any other tapes and books and seminars in which you can attend is that can become that power source. That can become that light switch that takes away all that darkness during that period of time so that you can get excited and understand and take a bold step toward your own financial independence.
The educational system has difficulty teaching creativity. It's a very nebulous thing. They want to teach the scientific method, and they go through, and literally very few things are developed by the scientific method. That's the bureaucrat's technique. And the truly creative person, the kid that comes in with a creative answer, probably will be punished. And they learn, no, always give the trite answer. Don't give the imaginative answer.
Education is a must. Everyone agrees on that. But getting additional specialized education is usually met with these excuses. I haven't got time, or I can't afford a babysitter. It's been years since I've been in school, or the best cop-out of all, I'm too old to learn. According to our experts, knowledge is the key that opens the door to financial freedom.
And I discovered at a very early age that hard work does not necessarily equate to financial success, that the real key is from the neck on up.
Money never disappears. It only changes hands. What's really vital for all people to understand is to go out and get the know-how, because the money changes hands from the people who aren't smart to the people who are smart.
Nobody has a money problem. It's always an idea problem. If the idea is great and it takes money to execute the idea, then what do you need before you need the money? Before you need the money, you need another idea.
Quit worrying about inflation. You're going to have it. Just get on the right side of it and learn to embrace it. Oh, goody, I've got inflation. It's going to make me money. Now, when we have less inflation, you approach it in a different way. But just remember that it repositions wealth. It doesn't reduce the amount of homes that can be built and the number of telephones that will be installed. It just repositions it to those who understand it.
Hi, I'm Peter Brown. You might remember me from the Lawman series or from soaps or guest appearances on primetime shows. In fact, I'm lucky. I've managed to make a living in an industry where unemployment sometimes goes as high as 80%. And just like most of you, I always get a paycheck from an employer. And a paycheck isn't going to give me any financial freedom or real security. It won't for you either. Do yourself a big favor. Go to the free 90-minute no-down payment seminar by millionaire author lecturer Ed Beckley. You'll learn why now is the greatest time to buy real estate. Retire within 5 years working 1 weekend a month. 11 factors you need to know before you buy any real estate, and much, much more. You owe it to yourself. Now get a pencil.
At 8 p.m. Monday at the Clock Tower Conference Center, Business 20 exit off I-90 in Rockford. At 8 p.m. Tuesday at the Holiday Inn Freeport on Highway 20 East. At 8 p.m. at the Holiday Inn intersection 251 and 75 Beloit. And at 1 and 8 p.m. Thursday at the Clock Tower Conference Center, Business 20 exit off I-90 in Rockford.
I can show you how we can go out and invest in real estate today, and if it does not even go up, at the end of 7 years, you will have made more money in that real estate from tax advantages than you will if you've left your money in a savings and loan or a bank at today's interest rate.
It's in an appreciating area, or if it's an area, because first of all, right now, as we begin moving out of the latest recession, you're going to begin seeing house values increase all across the country. So your property may begin increasing in value again. It's very typical when we're in a recession, and during a recessionary period, that house prices stagnate. Right now, as we move out of this recession into an expansion period, house prices begin gathering momentum. And typically, at the latter stages of the expansion, they begin moving much more rapidly. And so as a result, depending on where your property is located, it's probably a good idea to hold it.
It's not rewarding to save. Savers have lost. You can see a billboard as you drive down saying, invest in government bonds to guarantee your future. Can you name a 10-year period in the history of our country when investing in a government bond has ensured your future?
All of us have one expensive dependent. He's our uncle, Uncle Sam. He's a relative we keep asking to give us things, but when he shows up on our doorstep for funds to keep him going, we get angry that he takes so much. Since he's our most expensive dependent, can't we take a larger deduction? Let's ask our experts.
Don't bank on the United States government to take care of you. Whatever you do, don't get started believing that you're entering a system that has Social Security and that if you make your payments, you can enjoy your life and spend your money, live it up, and when you want to retire, the government will give you a nice fat check in the mailbox. It just may not work that way.
And we're told if we don't do something about the deficits, the interest alone by 1990 will be about $250 billion a year. That's billion. That's greater than the whole federal budget was in 1972, for example.
The middle class is going to get eliminated. And there's a real easy formula to determine which of the two classes you're going to wind up in.
Never depend on Social Security. I think one of the reasons that so many people fail is they were lulled into a false sense of security. If you say Social Security very slowly, it sounds like a warm puppy. What it should be called is social insecurity.
We have so many special interests who always want a little more. And they say, well,
You know, I know you have to cut the budget, but don't cut my program. I can justify the farm program or the education program or Social Security or Medicare. And let's face it, there are a lot of powerful lobbies in this town.
If we want to really cure the deficit, we have to lower taxes and encourage people to invest. Our tax laws are all turned around. Today, you will let me deduct interest if I borrow money. You will penalize me if I save it and get interest and dividends, and wonder why I borrow and wonder why I don't save.
We're in the midst of a true transition from one form of economy to the other. It's been happening for quite a long while, but it's been accelerated recently, and it's been accelerated mostly by innovation, by formation of new companies based on new technology.
Ed Beckley was recently on the TV program Money, 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 hosted by Hal Morris. He took a challenge.
I heard you making a statement outside before this program started that I would kind of like to challenge you to. Tell the people what the statement was that I overheard you make. Well, basically, I believe I could take anybody in any station in life and take them out there with a little training by myself, a couple of days, and within just a very few amount of days, 2 or 3 days, they could go out and buy a piece of property for nothing down. And I'm talking about taking somebody that has no cash, credit, or even a job.
Cindy Hopp was Ed Beckley's challenge.
Yeah, I was unemployed for a while, and then I met Ed, and he suggested that I could go out and buy a piece of property with no money down. And we went out and looked at this piece of property, and sure enough, with no money down and a positive cash flow. Now, I was really excited. I didn't think that that could ever happen, but I am the owner of this property.
Cindy may be an up-and-coming entrepreneur herself. Rewards come in many shapes and colors. Mary Kay Cosmetics believes in rewards. Mary Kay consultants who achieve certain levels in sales, recruiting, and leadership are given diamonds, furs, pink Cadillacs. And on reward night, it's a Broadway spectacular.
I think every woman dreams someday of having a mink coat, a diamond ring, and a Cadillac or a large car. And if I feel like that the women in our company, if they want a washing machine or a dryer or whatever, they can go and purchase that. But I try to put before them prizes I don't think they would go buy for themselves. I dare say that most women are almost just too practical to go buy a diamond ring for themselves. They expect that fellow on the white horse to bring it, and sometimes he doesn't show up.
Ed Beckley, millionaire, author, lecturer, radio and television personality, creator of no down payment real estate formulas.
I think if anybody's planning on even buying a house themselves, it's well worth it in what you can save.
I've done a lot of reading about all of this, but you see, you really need the one-on-one, and this gives it to you.
I'm only a high school student, but I feel like I've learned so much being here. I didn't know anything about taxes or real estate or anything, but now I feel like I can actually go out and buy a house and not have to depend on anybody to put me through college or get me started in life. I think I can do it all on my own now.
And if I apply myself and apply the techniques that they've shown me here, there's no doubt in my mind that I won't be a success in a short period of time.
I think the seminar is absolutely wonderful. I knew nothing about real estate in this country before I went to it, and now I feel very knowledgeable.
If they have a refresher course in some coming future time, I definitely would probably take it again.
I didn't think it would be this exciting.
It's just so dynamic that we've got all sorts of ideas we can now use.
I thought it was very good. It was better even than I expected it to be.
It opened up a whole new ball game for me.
Really fantastic. It gave everybody a chance to meet with people that are ambitious and energetic and motivated. It's a good basis to form any kind of partnership for anyone that's interested. It's just really fantastic.
The instructors are professionals, well-informed, and they display enthusiasm that just transfers on to the individual, and you'll just go for it.
Join the thousands who have learned from Ed Beckley how to buy real estate with little or no money down. Don't miss the free 90-minute lecture at the following locations.
At 8 p.m. Monday at the Clock Tower Conference Center, business 20 exit off I-90 in Rockford. At 8 p.m. Tuesday at the Holiday Inn Freeport on Highway 20 East. at 8 p.m. at the Holiday Inn, intersection 251 and 75 Beloit, and at 1 and 8 p.m. Thursday at the Clock Tower Conference Center, Business 20, exit off I-90 in Rockford.
Well, we promised you at the start of this program that this 30 minutes could change your life, that this 30 minutes could make a difference between existing and living. You heard the experts that each and every one of us had the potential and opportunity to make it in America today. Have a positive attitude, set goals, be persistent in your quest. Be around successful people that are supportive, not around negatives who will pull you down to their level of losing. And finally, choose your education wisely, whether it be a home study course, community college, or a weekend seminar. If you're going to start a business, remember the risk, but remember the rewards. Make your decision to go for it now. For over 200 years since the birth of this nation, we've listened to the preachers of gloom, the whiners, the doomsdayers, and they haven't been right yet. You can make it in America. It's up to you.
You can make it in America today. You need to start soon enough, and time is very, very important.
If you're a winner, it'll be you. Nobody else can do it for you. You've got to pay the price, and if you're a winner, it'll be you, and if you're not, it's you.
There is no other investment in the United States that can compare to real estate.
The Americans are taking more responsibility today than letting the government take care of them.
To succeed and to make it in America, you've got to be willing to work, and you've got to be willing to produce, and you must understand the profit motive in this country, that those who invest their money in a business, whether it's a young person, whoever, have a right to make a profit.
I think that God planted the seeds of greatness in every human being, but that most of us die with our music still unplayed.
The shortest way to total financial independence is take the shortcuts, learn from the experts.
You owe it to yourself, and you owe it to your family. You've got to have a dream.
The results are in. Cats have made Tidy Cat 3 America's #1 cat box filler. California cats love Tidy Cat 3. Nashville cats prefer Tidy Cat 3. Dallas cats prefer Tidy Cat 3 because it controls odors 3 ways. It absorbs, deodorizes, and leaves a clean, fresh scent. That's why no brand sells better than Tidy Cat 3 from Lowe's, America's #1 cat box filler.
Americans including Republic Airline round-trip tickets with special purchases, color TVs, video recorders, cameras, stereo systems. This VHS video recorder is $5.95. You fly Republic round-trip to Miami, Vegas, Phoenix, San Diego, over 100 cities. Maytag washers, computers, Republic Airline tickets included. This Sansui stereo system's $5.95. This computer printer's $3.99. Or this camera system only $2.95. You still get the Republic Airline ticket to a warm place from American.
We now join our regularly scheduled program, which is already in progress.